6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by Lal Malvarachi and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The deadline extended for the Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025. The police say a special operation will be conducted in the western and southern provinces from tomorrow to control crime. The leader of the National People's Power says a future NPP government must include ministers representing the north. 21 Indian fishermen were arrested for poaching in the Sri Lankan waters. In foreign news, Russia's Vladimir Putin seeks a fifth term in a tightly controlled election. In sports news, Dilshan Madhushankar to miss the rest of Bangladesh tour due to an injury. The acceptance of applications for the Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025 has been extended and the new deadline has been set for the 1st of April. This programme, initiated by the President's Fund under the advice of President Ranil Wickremesinghe and guided by the President's Secretary Mr. Saman Ekanaika, aims to benefit students who are studying despite facing various economic difficulties. Zonal education directors have informed about the programme to the principals, the divisional secretaries and the Grama Nirdhari officers. The President's Fund has encouraged parents to inquire about the programme and submit their application forms to the school principal accordingly. The allocation of scholarships to each school based on the number of students will be determined by the Regional Director of Education. These scholarships will then be distributed to the respective school principals within their regions. All school principals are required to form a selection committee and starting from the 1st of April, choose the scholarship recipients based on the allocated scholarships for their school. The police headquarters say that a special operation will be conducted in the western and southern provinces from tomorrow. The aim of this operation is to destroy the underworld and criminal groups. This operation will be carried out under the direct supervision of the IGP Deshabandhu Thenakone and the commanding officer of the Special Task Force Varuna Jayasundara. 20 armed police units will be deployed in this operation. Meanwhile, the IGP has commenced operations against 62 OICs who are unable to control crimes in their respective areas. The leader of the National People's Power, Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, says a future NPP government must include ministers representing the north. Speaking at the Vavuniya District Convention yesterday, he said they were already having discussions with the moderate Tamil leaders who are not extremist or racist. There must be ministers representing the north in a future NPP government. We are already having discussions with the moderate Tamil leaders who are not extremist or racist. They must be a part of the NPP government, he said. He said the NPP will resolve the issues of the Tamils such as the language issue, the land issue, and said that they would introduce constitutional amendments so as to ensure the political rights of the Tamils. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Sri Lanka Navy says it conducted a special operation to chase away Indian poaching trawlers from the Sri Lankan waters last night, and the operation led to the seizure of 2 Indian trawlers and the apprehension of 21 Indian fishermen poaching in the Sri Lankan waters off the Delft Island. The Northern Naval Command deployed a fast attack craft to chase away a cluster of Indian poaching trawlers, having spotted they were engaging in illegal fishing in the Sri Lankan waters. The seized trawlers, together with the 21 Indian fishermen apprehended, were brought to the Kankasanture harbour and will be handed over to the Maliadi Fisheries Inspector for onward legal proceedings. The police have arrested the suspect who is believed to be the shooter in the attempted murder incident at Modara Street in Colombo 15 on the 13th of February. Police said that 11 grams and 600 milligrams of heroin were found in the suspect's possession at the time of his arrest in Paliagoda yesterday. The arrested suspect is a 35-year-old resident of Imbuggoda area in Parakandeniya. Previously, one suspect had been arrested by the Colombo North Division's Crimes Unit and 3 suspects were arrested by the Modara police in relation to this incident. The investigating officers have also found a car used by the suspects to commit the crime and a 3-wheeler they had used to flee after carrying out the shooting.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority says that the water level of the hydroelectricity reservoirs is now at 83%. The water level of the Mahaweli reservoirs, which is being used for agricultural purposes, is now at 93%. The water level of the Samanalavawa and the Madru Oya reservoirs is 100%. The Disaster Management Centre says that more than 4,700 individuals in 1,490 families have been affected due to the prevailing dry weather condition. Measures have been taken to release water for the affected areas.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gifts and gift vouchers. 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
The Met Department has issued a heat index advisory for the northwestern, north central, eastern and the western provinces and the Monragala, Mena, Ratnapura and Vavuniya district. The advisory is valid for tomorrow. The advisory states that the heat index, the temperature felt on the human body, is expected to increase up to the caution level at some places in the northwestern, north central, eastern, western and the Monragala, Mena, Ratnapura and Vavuniya areas. As per the advisory, under this level of temperature, fatigue is possible with prolonged exposure and activity, while continuing activity could result in heat cramps. Once again, the Met Department has issued a heat index advisory for the northwestern, north central, eastern, the western and the Monragala, Mena, Ratnapura and Vavuniya areas. The advisory is valid for tomorrow. The advisory states that the heat index, the temperature felt on the human body, is expected to increase up to the caution level at some places in the northwestern, north central, eastern and the western and Monragala, Mena, Ratnapura and Vavuniya areas. As per the advisory, under this level of temperature, fatigue is possible with prolonged exposure and activity, while continuing activity could result in heat cramps.
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gifts and gift vouchers. 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
Coming up, World News.
In world news headlines, Russia's Vladimir Putin seeks a fifth term in a tightly controlled election. Iceland volcano erupts again, spilling lava towards the town. Australian farm grows world's biggest blueberry. Voting has taken place across Russia as Vladimir Putin seeks a fifth term in office. The re-election of the 71-year-old is seen as inevitable, with most outspoken critics in exile, jailed or dead. Opposition leader Alexei Navalny died suddenly last month at a penal colony above the Arctic Circle. His widow Yulia Navalnaya has called for Russians to protest by forming long queues at polling stations at midday. A state of emergency has been declared in southern Iceland because of another volcanic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula, the fourth since December. It is thought to be the most powerful flare-up so far. Lava has reached the eastern defences around the evacuated town of Grindavik, local media say. People have also been moved from the nearby Blue Lagoon, one of Iceland's most popular tourist attractions. According to the country's civil defense service, the eruption began after 8 local time on Saturday in the night north of Grindavik. An Australian farm has smashed a record for the world's largest blueberry with a fruit the size of a ping-pong ball. Picked in November and stashed in a freezer since, the monster was almost 4 centimeters wide and weighed in at 20.4 grams, about 10 times the average blueberry. The title was previously held by a 16.2 gram berry grown in Western Australia. The specimen is of a new variety developed by the Costa Group to meet consumer demands for larger berries. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. Russia's Vladimir Putin seeks a fifth term in a tightly controlled election. Iceland volcano erupts again, spilling lava towards the town. An Australian farm grows the world's biggest blueberry. Development news. The Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandula Guruvardhana, has left for Washington today to participate in the 21st Conference on Transport Transformation in Washington, the USA, from tomorrow to the 20th of this month. The Minister will attend an executive meeting on the same day. The first session on transport will be held on the 19th of March. Public transport and other related activities will be discussed in the afternoon. The Minister will participate in a discussion with the policymakers at the Preston Auditorium on the 20th of March. He will also participate in a special discussion with representatives from India, Brazil and Nepal on that day. The Minister will also participate in discussions regarding modern technical activities on buses, including e-bus services.
Moving on with sports news.
Sri Lanka Cricket announced that fast bowler Dilshan Madhushankar will not take part further in the ongoing Bangladesh tour. SLC said today the player will return to Sri Lanka in order to start rehabilitation after suffering an injury during the second ODI against Bangladesh. Madhushankar, who left the field during the second ODI while bowling, has suffered a left hamstring injury. Sri Lanka bounced back in the second ODI against Bangladesh to level the series 1 with the third and final match set to take place tomorrow. SLC said the player will return to Sri Lanka in order to start rehabilitation. The third and final ODI that will be played in Chattogram tomorrow will be decisive for both teams as they have levelled the series.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Minister Mahinda Amarveera says that the purchase of paddy will be carried out by the Paddy Marketing Board continuously. Paddy storage facilities will be opened in this regard. The private sector is purchasing paddy at a higher price than the government-certified price.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, the Ministry of Transport and Highways, in keeping with the Budget 2024 proposals, has taken steps to offer investment opportunities to develop railway stations to create innovation in urban traffic under the Station Plaza program. The Ministry of Transport is inviting investors to develop urban areas through a public-private partnership model. Expressions of interest are invited for this project to create facilities for a luxury lifestyle and commercial activities and to meet the multiple needs of major railway stations. 6 railway stations, Kollupitiya, Bambalapitiya, Vallavatta, Dehivala, Mount Lavinia and Slave Island, have been proposed as the basic project stations, and proposals can also be made for other railway stations too.
Weather report.
The Met Department says mainly dry weather will prevail over the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamu and central provinces and in the Gala and Kalathura districts during the morning tomorrow. That was the weather report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The deadline extended for the Presidential Scholarship Program 2024-2025. The police say a special operation will be conducted in the western and southern provinces from tomorrow to control crimes. The leader of the National People's Power says a future NPP government must include ministers representing the north. 21 Indian fishermen were arrested for poaching in the Sri Lankan waters. In foreign news, Russia's Vladimir Putin seeks a fifth term in a tightly controlled election. In sports news, Dilshan Madhushankar to miss the rest of Bangladesh tour due to injury. That concludes this news broadcast. You're with Radio Sri Lanka on a Sunday evening.